Meeting to come to order. Today is Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016. This is a voting meeting of the Prescott City Council. I want to welcome everybody who decided to come here today and spend a little bit of time with us and give us your views on things. I hope you sign in if you want to speak. I will be allowing some discussion from the public when we get to the entertainment district. That's something we normally don't do during the presentation, but I think we've received a lot of messages today and the last few days on this, so I think it'd be a good idea for everybody to have a chance to talk on it. But I'm only going to allow about 10 minutes, so anybody gets up to be very succinct. During the regular agenda, we'll be also taking some public comment, and at that time, try and limit yourself to 5 minutes, and I'll give you a 30-second warning before your time is up. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have any introductions?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, our invocation today will be led by Father Jeffrey Freight, St. George Orthodox Church, and Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilman Lozelle.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. O Lord Jesus Christ, our God, accept our fervent supplication and bless the good intent and work of your servants, that they may begin favorably and may complete it unto your glory without any obstacle. Assist the workers and direct the activity of this council, and cause it to be brought speedily to completion by the power of your most Holy Spirit. For yours it is to be merciful and to save us, O our God, and unto you do we ascribe glory, together with your Father, who is without beginning, and your most holy, good, and life-giving Spirit, now and ever, and unto ages of ages. Amen.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, join me. We'll pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Oberg?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lamerson?
Here.
Councilman Blair?
Yes.
Councilman Lozelle?
here.
Councilwoman Orr?
Here.
Councilman Shiska?
Here.
And Councilwoman Wilcox?
Here.
All present.
Thank you. City Manager, do you have any announcements?
I do not. Do we have a council, clerk, city clerk, do we have a council
Councilwoman
announcement?
Wilcox was going to make an announcement.
Yes, thank you. Every year at this time in the month of May, it is Prescott Bike Month. So on Friday, May 13th, we're having a Bike to Work with the Mayor program. And it departs at 7 a.m. from the shopping center at 1500 West Gurley behind Casa Sanchez. And the Honorable Mayor himself, who hasn't ridden a bike since he was 10 years old, will be there, and he never forgets. So you can watch him ride again. And this is to celebrate a lot of our recent accomplishments with respect to bike safety. We have the general plan supporting non-motorized transportation. We have the updated pedestrian bicycle plan, which got approved. And we've reestablished a bike ped committee in Public Works as an ad hoc committee. We're working on sidewalk improvements, greenways, trails, extensions, pedestrian safety projects, and we've updated engineering standards for pedestrians and bicycles. So I hope in celebration of that, you will all come out 7 o'clock, May 13th on a Friday. It's a good lucky day.
And let me add that we've been notified of some grants that are available to support the bicycle program, so I'm going to have the ad hoc committee looking at those grants and seeing what they can get for us to help out with some of the things we want to do to help support bicycling in Prescott. We have some proclamations. I'll let you read the first one.
Proclamation A is for the Highland Games, and Councilman Lozelle will be presenting that proclamation.
Andy?
Nice boots.
Didn't know if we get showed up today.
This is a proclamation to honor the 12th annual Prescott Highland Games on May 14th and 15th, 2016. Whereas the officers and directors of the Prescott Area Celtic Society have elected to bring the 12th annual Prescott Highland Games to Watson Lake Park on Monday 14th and 15th. Whereas the residents of Scottish and Celtic descent have made substantial contributions to our community in the state of Arizona and our country, and whereas the promotion of goodwill among all people of the Prescott area can be achieved by a broader understanding and education about the culture and contributions of all citizens, and whereas this Scottish Celtic Festival will display excellent examples of this culture, including Highland dance, Scottish heavy athletics, bagpipes, drum band, and Scottish clans, Scottish food, beverages, and merchandise. Whereas the Prescott Highland Games will bring thousands of participants and guests intent on preserving and displaying their heritage for all the people of Prescott to enjoy. Now therefore, I, Harry B. Oberg, Mayor of Prescott, do hereby proclaim May 14th and May 15th, 2016 as the 12th annual Prescott Highland Games, renaming Watson Lake as Loch Watson for those days.
As always, I'd like to thank our esteemed mayor and the councilmen for helping us put this on, because without your generous help and everything, we'd never be able to make it to this 12th annual games. And it's also the public and everything. Also, a couple other people, Michelle Lee for getting the proclamation done for us. Thank you so much. The city, Joe Baines and his crew, thank you so much. Because without you guys, I know we wouldn't do it. And enjoy, let everybody know that please bring your family out. It is a family event, and even for your four-legged friends too. So please come out and join us on those 2 days. We'd love to have you come out and join us. Thank you.
You want me to take a picture too?
I'm here all week.
Follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook.
That's all right.
Thanks so much.
Item B, proclaiming May 2016 as Building Safety Month. I believe Sandy Griffiths is here and Randy Plummer. Seth.
Thank you. Is this on?
Yes.
Well, the last time Sandy was up here, she was lecturing me, so this is a little nicer situation. Yes, you would. And I'd like to introduce to you former City Councilman Tom Riley from Renovations. Okay, I'm proclaiming Building Safety Month, May of 2016. Whereas our city's continuing efforts to address the critical issues of life safety, energy efficiency, water conservation, and resilience in the built environment that affects our citizens both in everyday life and in times of natural disaster, give us confidence that our structures are safe and sound, and whereas our confidence is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety officials, architects, engineers, developers, builders, tradespeople, laborers, and others in the construction industry who work tirelessly year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians, dedicated members of the International Building Council, or International Code Council, use a governmental consensus process that brings together local, state, and federal officials with expertise in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect Americans in the buildings where we live, learn, work, worship, and play. And whereas the international codes, the most widely adopted building safety, energy, and fire prevention codes in the nation, are used by most U.S. cities, counties, and states. These modern building codes also include safeguards to protect the public from natural disasters, such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas the Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown guardians of public safety, our local code officials, who assure us of safe, efficient, and livable buildings. And whereas building codes, driving growth through innovation, resilience, and life safety, The theme for Building Safety Month 2016 encourages all Americans to raise awareness of the importance of building safety officials and resilient construction, fire prevention, disaster mitigation, water safety and conservation, energy efficiency, and I have not, and new technologies in the construction industry. Building Safety Month 2016 encourages appropriate steps everyone can take to ensure that the places where we live, learn, work, worship, and play are safe and sustainable, and recognizes that countless lives have been saved due to the implementation of safety codes by local and state agencies. And whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, Americans are asked to consider projects to improve building safety and sustainability at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local and state building departments, prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, Harry B. Oberg, Mayor of Prescott, does hereby proclaim the month of May 2016 as Building Safety Month. And accordingly, he encourages our citizens to join with their communities in participation in Building Safety Month activities.
Wow, that was fabulous.
I didn't take a breath.
Awesome. Mayor, I'm not going to hijack your meeting, I promise. However,
Did you write that?
do not give me the 30-second buzzer. I have a lot to say. I'm not used to talking into these. Is this okay? First of all, I am totally honored and humbled to be up here accepting a proclamation on behalf of the City of Prescott for Building Safety Month. Throughout many council meetings, I've seen many humanitarian individuals and organizations receive proclamations. Never, ever did I imagine that Building Safety Month would be one of those, and that I would have a team of fabulous builders with us. Stand up, guys, because you're part of this. Come here. Mike, come over here. This is important. So, these are the men that it is building safety. We have to work safe.
I'm an owner-operator. I don't do safety.
This building safety is critically important to the city of Prescott, let alone the nation. I mean, this industry, and you all know that I totally love it, we have built America. We've built Arizona, we've built Prescott, and we're going to continue to do so with safety rules, regulations. I personally think we might be a little over-engineered right now, Randy, but that's okay. We'll get through that. But seriously, this is an industry that is one of the oldest in the universe, and we're going to continue to be around and continue building. And if it were not for Randy and his code officials, his team, I mean, we have the fire department with us, Chief Light, Henry Hash from Public Works, and your team. We all build safe so that you have schools and churches and homes to go to and city buildings to congregate in and grocery stores and Trader Joe's. So I thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts for acknowledging building safety. And I want to introduce one of our board members, Mr. Mike Enders of Bintry Custom Homes, Greg Barstad, a board member, Granite Basin Roofing. This is as long as your proclamation. Tom Riley with Renovations, a very valued asset in the community, long-time builder. Miss Karen Risk is one of our loyal and honorary board members for YCCA who understands the importance of building safety. Ty Scott, Ty Smith, Yavapai Block, Ron Owsley, Premier Builders, and Ability Handyman and Remodeling, Mike Daniel. Just a small part of the 36,000 licensed contractors that you have in Arizona. And in Yavapai County, we have 1,972 licensed, hardworking contractors. So thank you from love to all of us. Wait.
Photo op.
Mayor, I'm almost done.
She dropped the microphone. Sorry, it's coming out of her budget. Mine?
Do we have this up?
He only went to one because he doesn't know what 2 and 3 is.
Are we done?
Hi, Tom. How you doing?
From the bottom of
Yeah,
our
I know.
heart.
Well, thank you for what
Love
you
you.
do.
My vote is against.
We'll talk later.
Item C, proclaiming the week of May 15th through the 21st as Emergency Medical Services Week.
Hello, Chief Light. I'm getting over the creepy crud, so I may need some emergency medical service here. This is a proclamation declaring Emergency Medical Service Week, May 15th through the 21st. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And here comes a real live EMS. Oh, I'm sorry. I still practice. That's what they call it. Thank you. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, emergency nurses, emergency physicians, and others. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or voluntary, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore, I, Harry B. Oberg, Mayor of Prescott, Arizona, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 15 through 21 as Emergency Medical Services Week, with the theme EMS Strong, Called to Care. I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, on behalf of all your first responders out in the community, I greatly welcome this proclamation. It is a very interesting and very diverse system, how it works with the public-private partnerships in the ambulance transport business with first care provided both by fire and EMS from fire services, but it also entails the connection with YRMC, both East and West Campus, and our emergency medical direction coming from Dr. Lamphy at the hospital. So on behalf of all our partners, I welcome this proclamation, and please call us when you need us, and take care of yourselves. Thank you very much.
Item D, proclaiming the week of May 15th through the 21st as National Public Works Week. Councilman Blair.
Let's bring all your guys up here. They saved the best for last. I want you to know that, Henry. Come on up, guys. This is kind of a hidden gem out there. What these folks do, not many people think about while they're sleeping, but we appreciate everything you do. Proclamation is National Public Works Week. Public Works always there for you. Whereas with the theme of Public Works always there, May 15th through my birthday, May 21st, 2016, marks the 56th observance since 1960 of an annual National Works Week. Whereas public works, infrastructure, facilities, and services are of vital importance to sustainability in communities and the health, safety, and well-being of people in Prescott, Arizona, and the United States. Whereas such facilities and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works staff represented in the City of Prescott government. who are responsible for planning, design, build, operate, maintain essential infrastructure and services to the citizens on a daily basis. And whereas it is the public's interest to gain knowledge of and to maintain the interest and understanding of important public works and public works programs in their respective communities. Whereas investment in public works infrastructure protects the environment, supports commerce, and is fundamental to meeting community needs and essential to the excellent quality of life for all our citizens. Now therefore, I, Harry B. Oberg, Mayor of the City of Prescott, do hereby proclaim the week of May 15th through my birthday, May 21st, 2016, National Public Works Week, calling upon all citizens, civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved and providing our public works, and to organize and in the contributions with public works officials, making every day a healthy, safe, comfortable, and quality of life day. In witness thereof, I hereto set my hand the great seal of the City of Prescott affixed this 3rd day of May 2016. And here is Henry Hash, our Director of Public Works.
Thank you very much, Council Member and Mayor. With your permission, I'd like to go to my corner, perhaps.
Okay.
I want to make sure I face everyone. It's my honor to accept the proclamation on behalf of the entire Public Works. We have a very short 3 minutes video, which I would like to show it with the permission of the Mayor and the Council. Prior to that, let me just tell you a little bit about Public Works. And I'm glad we have a big group of people here that they can learn a bit more what we do on a daily basis. There is not really a day that Public Works is not involved in everybody's life on a daily basis. From the morning when you wake up, you wash up your face with our precious water, flush the toilet, throwing out your garbage, driving your car on the road, stopping at traffic light, go over a bridge. It is all Public Works. When it rains and roads get flooded, Public Works get the call. We have even received calls from people asking where a good pizza place is. You know, we do it with a smile because we believe in great customer service. We strive to provide great customer service by having clear and honest communication and relationship with all of our citizens and partners, and I see many of them are here, and I thank them for being here. We in Public Works have some of the most talented and dedicated people I've ever seen. On a daily basis, they give their best and the best customer service. I know it is the goal of the Mayor and Council always to provide best customer service, and we are here to do it. I am grateful to be part of this organization, and I'm honored to have the Public Works team that we do have, 2 of them right here. So with your permission, we have 2 little videos, a 2-minute and a 1-minute, that they are all together. And I will, if I knew it's your birthday, you're coming up, Councilman, I would have. But thank you, Mr. Woodfield, to help.
You ever wonder just who are these people? The Department of Public Works? And what exactly are they good for? What do they do, really? Well, it's Public Works that deals with the nation's infrastructure, all those things we take totally for granted. They maintain our streets, remove the snow and ice, provide water services, from safe drinking water to wastewater treatment to stormwater and flood control. Public Works departments construct and maintain public buildings, run utilities, maintain fleets of vehicles and equipment, even operate some airports. It's Public Works that maintains hundreds, even thousands of our traffic signals and streetlights. They take care of this, all the sewage. In America, it just disappears, never to be seen or smelled again. As does your garbage, recycling, refuse, junk, hand-me-downs nobody wants. It all just disappears. Well, it's Public Works who makes it disappear.
The prime directives of Public Works, I think, are
APWA presents Public Works Saves the Day.
Come on. Ricky the Rickster, what's up, my man? Hey, Zoom Zoom, I'll be there right at 10 step. Oh, Ricky, the smoke is so shocking.
Oh my, what a beautiful bird. It's a beautiful day, isn't it, young man?
Yes, it is, ma'am. Yes, it is.
Hats off to you, Public Works professionals. Mark your calendar for the Fall APWA Conference. Network with industry peers and check out the Public Works Rodeo in Yakima, October 26th to 30th.
Presentations, item A, Chamber of Commerce, introduction of new businesses.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is Neil Sneller, and I'm the Membership Director for the Prescott Chamber. Everyone is welcome to attend our Women in Business Luncheon next Wednesday, May 11th, starting at 12. The keynote speaker is Sandy Moss. Please call our office or visit prescott.org to register for the luncheon. And our mixer this month is hosted by Capitol Canyon Golf Club, and that's Thursday, May 19th. The event begins at 5. The Prescott Chamber continues to grow with these new members: Action Cleaners, Adorn Interiors, Boys to Men Networking Group, Canyon Mobility Sales and Service, Caldwell Banker, Judy Smith, Fain and Company, Prescott Outpatient Surgical Center, Prescott Unified School District Education Foundation, the Sprint Store, the Meadows of Northern Arizona, Prescott Dog, and finally, Vicki Peterson of Bloom Tree of Prescott. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Item B, presentation by Scott Whitney regarding creation of the South Montezuma Entertainment District. Mr. Whitney?
Oh, the slides. Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. Thank you for everybody who's here to listen. And tonight I just want to talk about this proposed entertainment district. It's for the downtown Prescott area. The overview: we seek approval from Mayor Oberg, City Council, local business owners, and the public for a resolution establishing an entertainment district in the city of Prescott. What is the purpose of an entertainment district? Other than defining areas of entertainment, artistic and cultural venues, the entertainment district only applies to liquor licenses that are restricted from locating within 300 feet of a church or a school. What are the benefits of the entertainment district? Having an entertainment district designation provides more local control to what kinds of liquor licenses can locate next to churches or schools. The district provides options for development of businesses downtown, vacant buildings, and areas that have been hard to revitalize due to the current restrictions. What does an entertainment district not do? An entertainment district does not have any direct fiscal impact on anyone and has no power to levy taxes, nor issue bonds, nor create any restrictions. What else does an entertainment district not do? An entertainment district does not have any direct effect on businesses, properties, or organizations that are outside of the district. An entertainment district does not have any direct effect on businesses, properties, or organizations inside the district unless those entities have plans to apply for one of the otherwise restricted liquor licenses. This is a map that is proposed right now. I'll speak just kind of off the cuff here a little bit. Originally, we had a much larger proposed area, and it included basically the entire downtown area. It also included the Charlotte Hall Museum and the Elks, and pretty much what we consider to be the greater downtown area was all inside the initial proposed district. We were advised that we might want to bring the size of the proposed district much smaller. So at the moment, this current district is being proposed to stop at Goodwin Street, which is the courthouse lawn basically area, and Carlton to the south, Cortez to the east, and McCormick to the west. The main reason for this is because this is the location of some churches and also the school and their sports field. And the way the law reads is that the sports field that is attached to the school is part of the 300-foot rule. So you can see that the sports field is very close to what we call the Whiskey Row area and the whole downtown area. It's right there. The district boundaries. The preliminary district concepts were quite large and included Charlotte Hall, Elks Theater, and other locations. The current concept is vastly smaller and focuses on South Montezuma. We now seek public input on what boundaries should be in, or if the current boundaries are suitable. So at this time, all boundary maps are open for discussion or modification. The text of the proposed resolution, again, this is just completely proposed and open for discussion, but as it's written now, we have a resolution authorizing certification of an entertainment district to be named South Montezuma Entertainment District. Whereas an entertainment district, yes, SOMO Entertainment District, that's a term that's being thrown around lately, so I kind of like it, but we can leave it or put it in there. Whereas an entertainment district designation provides more local control to what kinds of liquor licenses can locate next to churches or schools. And whereas an entertainment district provides options for the development of businesses downtown, vacant buildings, and areas that have been hard to revitalize due to the current restrictions. And whereas the governing body of a city or town, on a case-by-case basis, may approve an exemption from the distance restrictions prescribed by the Arizona Revised Statutes 4-207 for a church or school that is located in an area that is designated an entertainment district by the governing body of that city or town. And whereas an entertainment district is a specific contiguous area that is designated by resolution adopted by the governing body of the city or town that consists of no more than 1 square mile, that is no less than 1/8 of a mile in width, and that contains a significant number of entertainment, artistic, and cultural venues, including music halls, concert facilities, theaters, arenas, stadiums, museums, studios, galleries, restaurants, bars, and other related facilities. And whereas an entertainment district will directly benefit the downtown area by providing a richer atmosphere of choices for locals and tourists to enjoy dining combined with beer brewed on site and more diversity of bars. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Prescott, the City Council of the City of Prescott, that Article 1 designates the area defined within approximate rectangle starting at, and I won't list all the parcel numbers here, but these parcel numbers is how I've described the current boundaries of the proposed district as it is now. So those parcel numbers as the South Montezuma Entertainment District. Article 2, the Entertainment District promotes the revitalization of the South Montezuma area. Article 3, endorses goals of economic vitality and enhancing community life through the participating in the development of the entertainment district. Article 4 encourages that all residents of the city and especially those who own property or businesses within the said entertainment district, to involve themselves and participate in the full development of the entertainment district. Article 5 directs city staff to actively support and cooperate with the governing board to develop, maintain, and encourage the economics in said entertainment district. Summary. An entertainment district benefits the people of Prescott, our local businesses, our tourism trade, and the city of Prescott coffers as increased sales tax revenue from higher total sales volume from within the district. Establishing an entertainment district is truly a win-win. Entertainment district establishment. Is it needed? Lastly, within the last couple days, some new information has come to light that our brewery business on South Montezuma may not need the entertainment district in order to brew on site. In fact, within the last few hours, I've found out that that is, in fact, true. So things have been developing day by day and actually up until a few hours ago. However, we still support the entertainment district as we think it would be a huge benefit to our city. So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, Scott. And I think I'm going to go ahead and open it up to the council here for a few comments that they might have, and then I'll go to the public. I will say that I've had a number of folks come in recently and indicate their desire for or against the entertainment district, and I've probably had more for the district and for increasing the size of the district. I don't know what everybody else has received, in their email, but I will just indicate that's, what I've seen.
Okay.
Councilwoman Wilcox.
Thank you, Mayor. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Councilwoman.
I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about your proposed business and how it might be different than some of the other bars and restaurants along Whiskey Row.
Okay, well, our proposed business is a German-style brew pub. I'm a craft beer brewer. I'm a home brewer, but would like to make it a business, so I'd like to beer brew on site. And my wife and I have been experimenting with recipes of German nature, making bratwursts and sauerkrauts and lots of fun stuff. I've lived in Germany for a couple years, and so our business is going to bring, I think, a really unique kind of business to this area, where we're going to be making just about everything kind of old world style and scratch in-house, and then pairing that with craft beverages. It's a very small place. We've got 21 seats. Is what we're trying to get our architect to have the design for. So our business is different, I guess, in direct answer to your question, that it's very tiny, very kind of old world, very just open, friendly. We want to have some seating that's going to be like Oktoberfest style bench seating, where if there's 6 seats at the bench and there's only 2 available, then people just sit right down at the bench right next to you and make some new friends or see some old friends, and that kind of seating arrangement. So I think it's unique. I think it's a fun concept.
Well, I have to say that I like the idea, and I like the name. I think it would bring something new to Prescott, and it's almost like a rebranding of an area downtown that would bring more people and would be a benefit to Prescott.
Thank you.
Councilman Shiska.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Hey, Scott, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you, Mr. Shiska?
Hey, this area doesn't have, or the eighth of a mile rectangle does not have music hall, or doesn't have concert facilities, theaters, museums, galleries, things like that. Is that all part of being an entertainment district?
Well, the way the state describes it is those are the kinds of things that are usually in an entertainment district.
But not required to be.
Not required whatsoever, okay. No. And there is a new art gallery just down the street. Jordan Vixie's opened up a little art studio and photography studio and gallery down there. So we've got some new businesses that have just come in down there. And so this kind of momentum is actually starting. So,
to a point, I agree with Gene about it. It is a cool name. But realistically, I think that if we're going to do an entertainment district, it needs to be a larger entertainment district, and it needs to include all of downtown. And I'm really glad that you found out that you're able to brew and serve people food and things like that within the 300-foot area. Mm-hmm. Because without it being all of downtown, and we haven't defined that yet, I couldn't support it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think what I would like to suggest is that we put this aside for a period of time, and we take some time as a community to talk about it and see who's interested. And so I think we really should just kind of put this back out there again. And I'm asking to not ask this to go to any sort of vote immediately. I think we should have a discussion about it.
I think this is the first shot across the bow, so to speak.
Yeah.
And good enough just isn't, right?
Right.
So we need to.
I know it very well.
we need to make sure that we think this thing out and do it the right way.
I agree.
So I'm all with you, Scott, and I appreciate your presentation.
Thanks,
Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman Orr.
Yes, I agree with Councilman Shishka and Jean. I think revitalization is certainly something that is very good. However, I think we really need to study this, step back, and because if it's good for 2 blocks of Montezuma, it needs to be good for Prescott downtown. And so I would, if there are good parts to this, I think we need to find out what they are and see how the rest of downtown feels about that. And if it's good for Prescott, I'm all in. But it needs to be good for all of Prescott, not just 2 blocks of Prescott, is my opinion. So,
okay.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Great, thank you.
Councilman Lozelle.
Hi, Scott.
Hi.
We met out in the hall there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was, I thought it was an attorney coming into service.
Sorry.
But I have to agree with my fellow council members and even Jean.
Do you want me to slap him?
I served on the Board of Adjustments for a number of years, and this almost seemed like like you're wanting a variance because you happen to have a building that you want zoned differently. I concur that this is a handy tidbit of knowledge, but it took us a long time and a lot of discussion to even come up with what the downtown business area is, let alone what an entertainment district is. And I've spoken to quite a few people, and I would like to see it encompass to where there are some folks out there that have tried to make their way on the square in different geographical areas, but because of the school or because of the church and the school, the Baptist church and school they're limited what they can do. So this needs to go further, and this is when I believe that the slow wheels of government come in handy, because we only have one shot at this. We want to come back and revisit it, and it's going to take probably half the people that are here to listen to this today, their input, a lot of staff, people that are pretty, that know how all this stuff works. So I'm not against this. I'm just not looking to vote on this anytime soon.
Okay, thank you. I'll take public comment at this time, 10 minutes.
Mayor Oberg, members of the City Council, thank you. I'm up here today to discuss. Oh, I'm sorry, John Nielsen, Prescott Brewing Company, 130 West Gurley Street, downtown. I'm here on behalf to discuss this liquor license issue with the district, with these entertainment districts. And I'm also speaking for Matt Broussard from Matt's Saloon, Tommy Meredith from Jersey Lily, John Stamm, Birdcage, Dave Michelson, the Palace Restaurant, and my wife and I, Prescott Brewing Company. I did send you a letter this week. I hope you all got a chance to look at it and read it. That did outline that the entertainment district is not needed for a number 3 liquor license or a number 12 liquor license. So that to create this district next to a school, I think, does not give the City Council more control over what liquor licenses go in next to a school. It gives you no control. There could be 30 number 6 liquor licenses, which are full bars. There could be 10 number 9, which are liquor stores, lining all the way around that school, if it's encompasses in the entertainment district. So that's very important. And also, you only get one shot at creating an entertainment district in the city of Prescott because of our population. of 200,000 or less. And I don't see Prescott ever getting to 200,000.
I hope not.
Me too. I hope not, Steve. But in the entertainment district rules under the liquor laws, it says that it must contain a significant number already. It has to already contain that number of entertainment, artistic, cultural venues, including music halls, concert facilities, and theaters already in that law. So that's very important for you to consider, because in the future, if the city decides to build a huge complex, not in the downtown, with convention centers and hotels and other venues, and then want to designate that as a entertainment district, you won't be able to if you designate this as one. I don't really think we even need an entertainment district in the city of Prescott. There are towns that call themselves entertainment districts, but do not really have one designated or passed by the city councils. They just advertise it as such. And I think we have a lot of that entertainment district feel in downtown Prescott already. There's also I guess the liquor board has revised their liquor license application that now includes the number 3 liquor license on the exemption for the 300-foot rule. That's just new. I learned that today. That's a new revision to their liquor license application.
John, what's number 3?
Number 3 is a microbrewery license. And it is also, the reason why it is not included in that 300-foot rule is because it's considered an other producer license. The 300-foot rule only encompasses retail licenses. And there are some that aren't included under what they call a retail license. And number 12 is not classified as a retail liquor license. It's a restaurant license. A hotel, golf course, special events, those are not retail liquor licenses, so they are exempt from that 300-foot rule also. I wish Scott the best of success. The more breweries here, the better, I think. We're bigger in numbers. And so I don't want you to think that I am in any way opposed to Scott opening another brewery in Prescott. I don't know what took them so long to get here. You know, that's what I told Granite Mountain when they came, and we welcomed them with open arms, and we still do. So I don't think I really have any other thing to say unless you have any questions for me. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Hi, my name is Hoyt Johnson III. I represent me, nobody else. I've been a resident here of Prescott for 19 years. I live just a few blocks from here. And I'd like to say that I'm not opposed to the establishment of an entertainment district in the city of Prescott. However, the potential benefits, and I'd say they could be hugely positive, demand, I think, as you've said, a really hard look at what the full impact of such a district would be, and that it be understood by the council and the citizens before any action is taken. Well, it's true the Arizona liquor law provides exemptions in its statutes to an entertainment district. The liquors law itself does not define an entertainment district. What it does do is allow for a maximum number of those based on population, and for us it's 1. It provides no guidance or direction in pertaining the governance of, the activities allowed within, the realignment or increase in size or location, or the revenue that might be generated for a jurisdiction, or any other provisions that must be defined by a community before any such district can be established. It's not that the liquor department tells you what an entertainment district is. You decide whatever you want it to be, and they'll conform to that with those laws. Currently, Prescott City Code includes a downtown business district with specific standards related to business, service, entertainment, and residential uses, and is intended to preserve and enhance the unique historic and pedestrian character of downtown Prescott. The city tax code also currently states that amusements, exhibitions, and similar activities be taxed at a rate equal to 2% of the gross income of these activities, which include things such as exhibitions, concerts, carnivals, fairs, races, public dances, or any other similar activities charging for admission for exhibition, amusement, and entertainment, which sounds very much like an entertainment district would do. Certainly with the city's current fiscal environment, any opportunity to increase revenue should be considered, and it seems that perhaps the entertainment district might be something that would be part of that, perhaps not. Perhaps as the concept of the entertainment district evolves, the boundary of the existing downtown business district could be used as a guide for an entertainment district boundary, and the existing tax for entertainment type activities could already be incorporated. The realizable gains for the city with the creation of an entertainment district are substantial, and it would allow for the opportunity to revitalize areas that otherwise sit vacant and generate no potential for the city and business community. An entertainment district is about a lot more than where we serve alcohol in town. There's a lot of other things in this community that are activities, the Whiskey Row Marathon, the Whiskey Off-Road Bike Race, the Whiskey Row Street Dance, all the other carnivals and activities that happen downtown. Those are all parts of an entertainment district that have absolutely nothing to do with the service of alcohol. And they should all be considered. They're as vital and as important to this community as where another bar goes. Clearly, this is an opportunity that shouldn't serve the interests of one business or one small area. This could benefit the entire downtown area and the business and property owners in the area. I respectfully ask that you consider these issues as you discuss the entertainment district, not because this is my hometown or your hometown, but because it's everybody's hometown. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we got 2 minutes left. Anybody else want to say anything?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Sandra Smith. I live on 701 Whites Bar. I agree that an entertainment district might be very beneficial to the community, but I don't think the place where he wants to put it is exactly the right place. I think that that's something that needs to be brought out, like in a public meeting, for the people to come in and really talk about with you, rather than just a quick run through here and decision made without a lot of people really even knowing it's going on. And I think probably more the downtown district, the business district there that you have outlined already, would be a more appropriate place for it. It certainly contains more of the things that are listed there. So that's just my 2 cents worth for that.
Okay, thank you. We got 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Jim St. Germain. I'm reminded that this week is Arizona Tourism Week. So in whatever you decide to do, this town runs on tourism, whether it be the bike race, whether it be the light on the courthouse square. All these businesses all depend on tourism for their revenue dollars, and it comes back to the city in taxes. So, and also, it's my understanding that's not exactly a one-time shot, that if you designate an entertainment district here, you can expand it later, but you just can't make another one until you have enough population. So I think we need to keep the tourism in mind, because that's what Prescott is all about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. We're out of time, and I want to thank everybody that gave us their comments. We're not going to take any further action on this right now and put it on the schedule for any future work. And we wish Scott the best of luck in establishing your business.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item.
Item C, presentation by Phil Good regarding the Veterans Memorial Plaque Project.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. My name is Phil Good. I'm the co-chair of the Veterans Memorial Plaque Committee. Our committee was formed, really our founder is Miss Betty Bourgeau. She formed this endeavor about 2 years ago. I joined it a little over a year ago. And the focus of this committee is to recast and update this plaque that currently exists on the county courthouse grounds across from Whiskey Row. Speaking of Whiskey Row, this plaque was dedicated in 1989. It currently has 155 veterans who gave their lives in service to the United States. They're all Yavapai County veterans. But since that plaque was dedicated, there have been 5 additional Yavapai County veterans who've lost their lives in service in Iraq and Afghanistan. Do we have this button?
Yeah.
Okay. The last veteran dedicated or memorialized was Sergeant First Class Gary Streeter. He lost his life on the last day of Operation Desert Storm. So as you can see, there are a lot of names here. We currently are about 6 weeks away from rededicating this plaque. We've been raising funds and publicizing this endeavor for the last year. We have submitted our new plaque design to Foundry. It should be completed any week now. And we have a rededication ceremony that's planned for Flag Day, June 14th. So that's exactly 6 weeks from today. That is a Tuesday, so it's a weekday, and we know, of course, during the summer weekend events on the county courthouse grounds are pretty full. So not wanting to compete with Memorial Day or other weekend events, we picked Flag Day, which also happens to be the birthday of the United States Army. And as a Vietnam combat infantry veteran with the United States Army, I was a little bit biased on that, but it's just a coincidence. As I mentioned, the founder was Betty Bourgeau. She's a local historian, member of the Citizen Cemetery Preservation Group here in Prescott. We have a number of Veteran Service Organization officers, including the past president or past commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars post here in Prescott, Josh Holt, the past commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars post in Prescott Valley, Bill Dunn, along with his quartermaster, Bill Halpin, Dick Marley, who's a VFW veteran and a business member down in Prescott Valley, and Julie Holst, who is pretty well known in the community for organizing events and is also a member of the Yavapai Cemetery Association. The qualifications for appearing on this monument are that veterans were killed on active duty in war zones. They were either born, raised, or claimed Yavapai County as a home when they were enlisted or drafted. So as I mentioned before, there are 5 Yavapai County veterans who died in service in Iraq and Afghanistan. Specifically, 2 here that were Prescott residents. So Private Reese Moreno, and I don't want to diminish anybody else that's listed on the plaque, but my purpose here is to bring this to the attention of Prescott so that the residents are aware that we are specifically honoring these 2 veterans. Private Reese Moreno, United States Army, who was killed in Balad, Iraq in November of 2006, and Specialist Tenson Samton, who enlisted from Prescott, killed in Talal, Iraq in March of 2008, also a U.S. Army veteran. Should be there. So Private Moreno was assigned to the 92nd Engineering Battalion, 3rd Sustainment Brigade, 3rd Infantry Division, based in Fort Stewart, Georgia. He attended Bradshaw Mountain High School in Prescott Valley and graduated early from Yavapai County High School in order to enlist in the United States Army. His awards and decorations include the National Defense Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Medal, and the Iraq Campaign Medal. Specialist Tamsin was killed in March of 2008 in Iraq. His vehicle was struck by indirect fire. Samton was a motor transport operator who was assigned to the 7th Special Troops Battalion, 7th Sustainment Brigade, based in Fort Eustis, Virginia. Samton enlisted in the United States Army while residing in Prescott, Arizona, and his awards and decorations include the Purple Heart Medal, National Defense Service Medal, and Iraq Campaign Medal. We have other veterans from Chino Valley, Camp Verde, and Cornville Cottonwood. Now it's interesting that during the course of developing this project, our historian Betty Bourgeau really dug into a lot of records, because we had been contacted by some families who indicated that their veteran family member or loved one was omitted from the original plaque. So as we began to research and vet those claims, we now have found 27 additional veterans from Yavapai County who were missed on the original plaque when they were putting together the names back in 1985. So I think it's a reflection of the ability now to research information, and Betty has just been amazing in her ability to find these additional veterans. So these all will be added to the plaque, going back from World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. So we'll have a total of 32 now veterans that will be permanently memorialized here in Prescott. So we will have the ceremony on June 14th, which is a Tuesday, as I mentioned, from noon to 1:30, right where the current monument exists across from Whiskey Row. We would ask that residents of Prescott who have an American flag fly it at half-staff to honor our two local veterans, Private Reese Moreno and Specialist Tenson Sampton, and to honor all of the fallen veterans from Yavapai County that made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their country all day on June 14th. And lastly, if residents are unable to attend the ceremony, we would ask that they stop for a moment of silence at 12 noon to honor and remember those soldiers and those other heroes who now will be forever memorialized on this monument. Thank you for the opportunity to update you on this project.
Thank you, Phil. We appreciate it. And I know I'll be at the dedication. And I would invite the entire council to attend if they are able to. Appreciate it. At this time, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Consent agenda. Item A, approval of minutes for the city council meetings held on April 19th, 2016. Item B, adoption of ordinance numbers 4973-1511 and 4974-1512, and resolution numbers 4324-1533, 4325-1534, 4326-1535, and 4327-1536, amending building, fire, planning, public works, and water resource fees. Continue to voting meeting of May 17, 2016. Item C, approval of city contract number 2016-281 with Professional Door Services in the amount of $11,739.86 for security doors at the Prescott Public Library. Adoption of resolution number 4322-1531, amending city contract number 2011-447A2 with Yavapai County Community College District for the joint use of service of certain facilities. Item E, approval of donation agreement with the Kiwanis Club Community Foundation of Prescott for construction of Kayla's Hands Playground, city contract number 2016-214, transient occupancy bed tax, general fund for maintenance. Item F, approval of Arizona Corporation Commission consent agreement number 10145, water fund. Item G, assignment of city contract number 2016-054A1 for on-call quality control and or quality assurance services from Cardinal to ADC Group Services Incorporated. Item H, adoption of ordinance number 4972-1510, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, authorizing the granting of a right-of-way easement to Arizona Public Service Company, an Arizona corporation, and authorizing the mayor and staff to execute any and all documents to effectuate said easement. Item I, adoption of ordinance number 4976-1514, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, authorizing amendment number 1 to property lease agreement number 2008-104 between the City of Prescott and the Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Arizona.
Okay, do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Mayor, I move to approve consent agenda items 1A through 1I.
Second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Passes unanimously.
Next item.
Liquor license consent agenda. Mayor and Council, on today's liquor license consent agenda, there are 4 applications for a Series 15 special event liquor license. Item A is Arizona Monsoon Festival, the Boys and Girls Club of Central Arizona. Item B, U.S. Vets Prescott, the Guidance Aviation. Item C, Fourth Friday Artwork, the Boys and Girls Club of Central Arizona. And item D, Grapes for Grades, Prescott Frontier Rotary Club. These applications for all 4 events have been determined to be in compliance with city requirements and are being recommended for approval. Item A did go through the city's special event committee where the event was approved. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Do you have a motion?
Mayor, move to forward special event liquor license application 2A through 2D to the Arizona State Liquor Board with a recommendation of approval.
Second. Yeah, I have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Passes unanimously.
Okay, regular agenda.
Item 3A, public hearing and consideration of a new liquor license application for a Series 12 restaurant liquor license from Song Hui Veneer, applicant for Ginza Sushi and Asian Cuisine located at 220 West Gurley Street. This is a request for a new license for a Series 12 restaurant liquor license. The police department has reviewed the application and found it to be in compliance with state law. The Community Development Department has reviewed the application and found it to be in compliance with zoning requirements and building safety issues. The application and license fees have been paid, and the application has been posted at the proposed location for the required 20 days. No public comments have been received, and I believe the applicant is in attendance. Oh, there she is. You would like to come forward?
You just want to tell us a little bit about your business?
Oh, hello, Mayor and Council. And I do have other restaurant in Scottsdale 101. It's about 5,000 square foot. And I have resident in Prescott, so I decided to open little restaurant in Gurley Street.
Okay, good.
And I do have, my other restaurant has been like 4 years. So I think I look forward to have good business here.
Okay. Well, I hope you have forks and spoons because that's what Greg needs.
No.
Sushi. He can't use chopsticks. So.
Sushi's one of my favorite. You don't need it. You just throw it in.
I'll bring the high quality chef from Scottsdale with me. So I think we're going to have best sushi and Asian cuisine restaurant in Prescott.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'll be looking forward to that. Any questions or comments from the council? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have a motion?
Mayor, I move to close public hearing.
Second. Vote, please.
Passes unanimously.
Do I have a follow-on motion?
Sure. And move to approve liquor license application number 121-33653 for Series 12 restaurant license for Ginza Sushi and Asian Cuisine located at 220 West Gurley Street.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Passes unanimously.
Thank you and good luck.
Congratulations.
Okay, move on to the next item, please.
Item 3B, second public hearing and adoption of resolution number 4331-1540, approving the Community Development Block Grant CDBG Program 2016 Annual Action Plan.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is the final public hearing for the 2016 CDBG Action Plan, and the action plan is basically to name the projects that will be funded in the next year. You should have a list of them in your packet. I hope you'll approve the projects that were prioritized by the Citizens Advisory Committee. We did receive one public comment in the last week, basically asking why city infrastructure projects were being funded when they have their own designated funding and there are so many other needs such as the library and nonprofits. And basically, without going into a lot of detail, what it comes down to is the applications that come in requesting funding and how they're scored and prioritized by the committee. And sometimes it goes to nonprofits, sometimes it goes to city projects. It just depends on the quality of the applications that come in that year. This year it happened to go to a couple city projects, and one is actually a partnership with the city and the Over the Hill Gang trail building group. So next year we could possibly have all nonprofit projects. But are there any questions, or should we open the
Questions,
hearing?
comments from the council?
Just a statement. These questions come up all the time, like Davis. All the Davis-Bacon rules. There's also guidelines we have to follow, but all these projects are all worthy. So, but thank you, and thank Jerry and everybody that puts
My
their time.
partner had to duck out.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, I do have a question.
Yeah,
I think I know the answer. I meant to ask Henry this today. The $869,338 matching funds that will come out of Public Works? Out of streets? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll open it up now for public comment. Appears there's none. We have a
Mayor.
motion?
I move to close public hearing.
Second.
Yeah, motion and second. Vote, please.
Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 4331-1540.
Yeah,
Second.
motion and second. Do we have to take the first motion first?
You have to vote on the first motion first.
Pardon?
We had to first on
The first motion.
Okay, vote on the first motion.
I thought we did. I thought we did too. I'll do it again.
Passes.
Emerson just got excited.
going crazy.
Passes unanimously.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
Trying to shut it off.
Please vote on the second motion.
The motion to pass the resolution passed unanimously.
Okay. Next item, please.
Item 3C, adoption of resolution number 4328-1537, approving the alternative water allocation policy for calendar year 2016 and repealing the suspension of acceptance of water service agreement applications.
Good evening, Mayor Oberg and council members. I have just a quick outline to run through fairly quickly on this item. And as you're aware, as outlined at council study session on April 19th, 2016, the attached alternative water allocation policy for calendar year 2016 is intended to guide city's water resource management through December 31st, 2016. With the last meeting you had, you recall we had some discussion on workforce housing, and with respect to that, it is recommended that this allocation budget category be retained through December 31st, 2016, applicable to both ownership and rental projects, and subject to be revisited in 2017. This policy and those policies adopted in the past provide a uniform process for projects to follow, which are one of three tracks in this case: a building permit, a site plan, or a preliminary plat application. Before an application is submitted, majority of the projects have been through the city's pre-application conference process, which includes all departments, including water resource management, and they provide information to the applicant for how best to proceed. In the case of water resource management PAC review, it is determined if a water service agreement is necessary based on the parcel location and the project information. Is it a single family, a multifamily, or a subdivision type of development, commercial, things of that nature. So briefly with this policy, I wanted you to be aware there is a communication plan pending adoption, and Water Resource Management has prepared packets for all the applicants on Exhibit A as identified in the policy. These projects are ones that submitted a water service application before the temporary suspension, or those that attended a PAC before the temporary suspension. Water Resource Management will begin contacting Exhibit A applicants on May 4th, which is tomorrow, to provide their information packet electronically, by mail, or for pickup in person, pending adoption, of course. Those that attended a PAC meeting during the temporary suspension also have a packet prepared, and they will be contacted and provided the packet in the same manner as the others above. This policy will be posted on the city's website in the spotlight section, which is the right-hand side of the page, for a couple weeks, and then will be housed in the water and sewer section. So if there are any questions I can help answer, I'd be happy to do so.
Councilwoman Wilcox.
Thank you, Mayor. Last work session, when we discussed this, I suggested that we eliminate the workforce allocation category altogether. And I'd like to know why you're recommending that we keep that distinction this year and then revisit it next year.
I believe because we already have so much already in place for this generally, for workforce housing. And my understanding was that the question was, do you want to make that open to just ownership or rentals? And so there wasn't a vote necessarily, but there was a general, I wouldn't say consensus. It appeared to me that the group was okay with that being for owner-occupied and rental.
So there's more discussion and study that needs to take place before we do that?
It would be, yes, it would be better to look at the policy a lot closer in terms of the definition of workforce housing, how it might be applied, things of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Blair.
Leslie, I asked the question, and I still haven't had clarity, and I don't know that we will get that until maybe in our Water Issues Committee, but due to the fact that there may be some workforce housing projects that are in the queue at the city, the question becomes that if there's water already available for those properties, instead of them using the water that typically would be used out of the water pool, if they can utilize the water from the workforce housing pool opposed to the other pool. When you start talking about management of water and how we have to account for it through ADWR, it would seem to me that we give some credibility or some guidance to those developers to give them some direction of whether they can or cannot either use it all for workforce housing out of that pool, or at least split that water and be able to use some of it out of workforce housing.
Well, if you, I'm sure you recall that the city's been watching that alternative pool slowly decrease over time, and that's the nature of the city's checkbook on water. There's not an income coming in on a weekly basis. So we looked at it very carefully, the projects that were already lining up for water. As you know, we have quite a few people that are interested. For workforce housing, it is identified, in this column of the policy. And so we'll work with those applicants the best we can to help them. We know what the range is. We know roughly how they can move forward with that kind of a project. And I think generally it's covered by this policy. I don't see that we're going to have work to do,
right?
Granted, and we'll have a lot of discussions with certain applicants because they're going down a path that, since I've been here at the city, generally hasn't been approached.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to know that based upon the way we have our system set up with the Waters Issues Committee, at least it goes to staff and then goes to Water Issues Committee for dialogue and discussion, and then goes on to the full council for a suggested vote. But if we lose that workforce housing dedication, when we throw all that water into a regular pool, then we lose any chance whatsoever of having any of what we call workforce housing based upon $118,000 or somewhere in that rough neighborhood for owner-occupied structures. So I'm at least willing to listen to what they have to say, and willing to listen to what the committee has to say about how we split water up when it comes to workforce housing.
I agree, sir. And so we did, once again, we did our best to be as equitable as we could across the range of potential projects. And so if, it's not just workforce, it's multifamily, duplex apartments, those kind of projects that we don't see as much in this city.
Thank you.
Councilman Shiska.
Thank you. Leslie, I'm assuming that, excuse me, I'm assuming that this is encouraging lower cost housing through water policy?
I wouldn't say so. The city's had a policy over the years for workforce housing. And so they've looked at it. And so once again, there's quite a few criteria. Nobody's going to be able to walk in the door and just say, here's my application, I want water. They need to do their work with a building permit, with a site plan, with a preliminary plat, and it's all going to head to Planning Commission if it needs to, Water Issues Committee as well, and then it'll come before the council. So I don't know if I answered your question. I hope I did.
Long ways to go.
Yeah, we do. I'm assuming that people don't have to show that they're working in order to live in this workforce housing?
Well, here again, let me switch to the policy that we have that section in policy.
Retirement housing. Workforce or retirement housing.
It's income.
I didn't mean to
No,
catch you off
That's
guard.
really easy to read. No, I have the whole thing right in front of me.
Okay.
So with workforce housing, it is defined within the Land Development Code.
Okay.
It's further addressed about within the policy of what that looks like. 80%, depending on what kind of housing we're looking at, 120% of median income. We did all the homework to crunch those numbers, and then we were, of course, working very closely with community development so that we all are working together well for the applicant to see what that might look like. And once again, we didn't put hard and fast numbers in here because mortgage rates can change, all sorts of things can slide that workforce cost around. So if we look at, we have to basically stick with the definition, and that's what we'll do with the applicants as we walk through these things.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I have one last question.
Go ahead.
When you start talking about, maybe for the city manager, I don't know who it would be for, but you start talking about the definition of workforce housing, you're typically talking about smaller lot sizes to give the developer an opportunity to create multiple houses on smaller lots. Do we have the flexibility as a city to look at maybe lowering the standard size of lots? Downtown Prescott was created with a 50 by 150 foot lot. Do we have the ability as a council to go smaller than that, say 40 by 100? If there's not a classification in the zoning code as an RA9, do we have an opportunity to go smaller? Anybody?
Well, no. Yes and no. No, not on a single lot, but if somebody came in with sort of a planned development, PAD of some sort, you could come in with conceivably smaller lots overall. You would be, if you took a larger parcel, for instance, and tried to do a PAD, you would increase the density by putting smaller lots, or sometimes they're referred to as a Z lot, which is a zero lot line lot, those kinds of things. So you can do with some sort of planned area development, but on a single lot, unless we change the land development code to allow for some sort of smaller lot than 9,000 square feet or 6,000 square feet or whatever the minimum size is, we have to change the land development code for a single lot to do that.
I just know that in the past, Gail Gardner is a redevelopment area where there was a flag lot, and we were allowed to go in with two-story structures on very small lots, and they went up for sale roughly around $110,000 to $112,000 before they could even get them built. They were sold, and again, it was very small yards, but yet it's there on Gail Gardner right before Fair Avenue.
And I believe in our land development code that it allowed a single-family residential lot may allow for a duplex to go in on a single-family residential lot, so you can have essentially 2 units. But oftentimes that'll require a variance, for instance, through the Board of Adjustment for lot coverage or setbacks, those kinds of things.
But there are avenues.
There are tools.
Okay.
But again, we have a minimum lot size. So if somebody wanted to take a 10,000 square foot lot, for instance, and split it into 2, we don't really have that tool because we don't allow for 5,000 square foot lots to essentially subdivide it or lot split it into 2 lots at this point.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions, comments from the council? Any public comment? Apparently not. Do I have a motion?
I move to adopt resolution number 4328-1537.
Second. Do I have a second? Vote, please.
Passes unanimously.
Next item.
Item 3D, adoption of ordinances number 4973-1513, 4977-1515, 4978-1516, and 4917-1517, amending business license changes to peddler solicitor code, changes to fire safety inspection code, and change to transaction privilege license fee, and adoption of resolution number 4330-1439, declaring certain documents as public records. I'll read the title and text of the ordinances. Ordinance number 4973-1513, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, amending Prescott City Code Title IV, Business Regulations by adopting a new chapter 4-6, Business Licenses and Miscellaneous Business Regulations. Ordinance number 4977-1515, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, amending Prescott City Code Title IV Business Regulations by amending Chapter 4-4 Peddlers, Transient Merchants, Solicitors. Ordinance number 4978-1516, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, amending Prescott City Code Title IV Business Regulations by amending Chapter 4-5 Fire Safety Inspections. And ordinance number 4979-1517, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, amending the City of Prescott Privilege and Use Tax Code by amending Section 4-1-320, license fees, annual renewal, and renewal fees.
Thank you, Dana. Mayor and Council, this is, again, the continuation of the business license we've been working on for 3 months. These ordinances are the result of all those public meetings that we've had. The first ordinance, 4973, is the business license, which is put together based on the criteria and the things that we have discussed, including a provision where 3 residential units or less pays 1 business license as opposed to 1 business license for each of those items. The ordinance 4977, the change to the Peddler Solicitor Code, deals with the changes in the special event, making those a taxable activity, making removing the charitable requirements for a special event, but maintaining the other licensing requirements for our solicitors in town. The change to the fire safety ordinance 4978 is merely a wording change, changing the license that it refers to there from a transient transaction privilege tax license to the business license. Again, the state will be issuing our transaction privilege licenses, so we need to change that to a business license so our fire department can go out and inspect those businesses. The change to the transaction privilege tax license was to lower the application fee from $25 to $5 to more closely emulate other cities that are licensed by the State Department of Revenue, and also would minimize, the impact of the business license component. Other questions that have come up in the last week, just to address really quickly, related to concern about what information was going to be available on the website related to businesses. Again, the intent was not to release the emergency contact names of businesses to the general public on the city's website, just to show that a particular address had a valid business license and what that business was. Again, a license for that business, if provided as part of the application, would be listed there as well, but the emergency contact and the contact numbers for those were not intended to be put out on the website. With that, and the resolution that's included in the packet is just to make these documents a public record. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Councilman Lozelle.
Thank you, Mayor. Mark, I don't have any questions. I just would like to make a statement. We've listened to this for the past 5 times. I think we've discussed it 5 times. Seems like the past 4, not me, you, all you're doing is just tweaking the ordinance, like it's already a done deal. And I'm gravely disappointed. And I've just got we have registrar contractors, state board agencies, medical board, Department of Revenue, IRS, ATF, State Liquor Board, County Health, OSHA, Cosmetology Board, insurance boards, realtor boards, accountant, CPA boards, architect boards, corporation commissions. We got the Better Business Bureau, we have the Chamber of Commerce, we have Local First, Yelp, Angie's List. The list goes on and on and on. If somebody wants to know who is doing business in this town, it's right here on your phone. I just get so frustrated that this is why we're saying this. We're competing against existing businesses by picking winners and losers. Oh, you want to sell that? Come here. We don't have any of those. I only have 3. You'd be right at home here. So as a government agency, we are picking winners and losers on this. It's supposed to be cost neutral, revenue neutral. I'm sorry, not cost neutral. But we picked $35. We don't know if that's neutral or not. It ain't going down, I can guarantee you. This is the first step for a business tax. You think this is just an innocuous help the public? It's coming down the pike, folks. That's the next one. That's what this is about. I just urge everybody to vote no. Thank you.
Councilwoman Wilcox?
Well, I'm in favor of the ordinance, in spite of what Councilman Lazell just said. However, I think there's some devil in the details that we need to address, and one of those is in Section 4-6-3 regarding the application. There have been several questions raised about what exactly are we going to ask for on what information are we going to ask for on the application, and some concerns have been expressed to me about the fact that these applications would be public documents, and some people don't want some certain types of information available to the public that might indicate an expensive inventory in their home, or particularly with home business, you know, where there's a professional service, the clients, the neighborhood knowing who the clients are and why they're going to that home business. So I wonder, Mark, if you have an idea at this point what the application would look like and what information we really need.
Well, thank you, Councilwoman. This is a list we used during the workshops. Again, we're trying to keep the information very basic: the name of the business, the location of the business, contact information, emergency contact for our dispatch, start dates. We want a record of their transaction privilege tax license because we need to use that. If there's a presence of hazardous material, the ownership type of the business, and then, or the ownership of the business, and then the type of the business. Is it a restaurant? Is it a CPA firm? Is it a lawyer's office? Whatever.
So
I mean, we're trying to keep it as you know, not, you know, we're not dealing with number of employees or gross income or any of those type of things, just as a listing of what businesses are operating.
Well, the biggest benefit I see to this business license is for public safety. It will tell our fire department whether or not there are hazardous materials stored on site. It will give them an idea of the nature of the business so they know what to watch for, what to be on guard for if there is a fire or some kind of emergency call from that business location.
Okay, any other questions, comments from the council?
Mayor, I'll just make a quick comment because I completely disagree with Councilman Lazell. He and I have had some pretty good discussions on this, but I believe this will be good for Prescott. I think it'll be good for our businesses that are here. I've spoken to several business owners and worked with the downtown partnership. I believe if you can get your name on a list for $35 that you're doing business in Prescott, I think that's certainly beneficial. I've done business before, and I certainly wanted people to know I was doing business in the town. I was quite surprised when I found out that Prescott did not have a business license. I believe there are 4 communities in the state that don't have business licenses. I believe that this is something that will be good for our community. We'll have better data for our community. And so I completely support it. And I know that there'll be issues that we'll have to work through, Mark. And you're right, Greg, we've kind of been going over some of the issues over the last 5 times that we've addressed this. And I believe that we've made it better each time. And I think we will continue to do that because I do think that we need to listen, and we have listened to people. So I appreciate all the comments that have come forward. So I'm completely supportive of this ordinance. Thank you.
Councilman Shiska.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Once again, I think it's a outstanding privilege to do business in the city of Prescott, and I would gladly pay $35 every year for that privilege. Thank you.
And I think also, Mr. Palladini, and maybe I should be talking to Mark too, there's going to be a period of time, about 6 months or something, where we're going to develop all the process on how we're going to do this.
Exactly, Mayor. And I put the calendar back up. Obviously, we're here at at May 3rd today. If council adopts this, we'll start the implementation process. We've already started steps to that in case council chooses to go forward. We'll come up with the system of how we'll do this, develop the website and the other things to allow people to easily register and do the transaction. We'll be looking for all these ordinance changes to go in effect January 1 of 2017. It will start business registration anticipated now in December and January for that new year. But it is a huge process to get this up and going, and it will take time, and we're going to try to get it done within this time, but honestly, it's tight, but we'll make it work and hopefully have a system that's easy for people to use.
Okay, and as we move forward, we are made aware of other nuances that we didn't think about. Maybe this is for Ms. Palladini. I think there's ways to go ahead and continue to improve the ordinance to meet those requirements, correct?
Absolutely, Mayor. The council can make amendments to a delayed effective date ordinance, which this is January 1, 2017, in between now and January 1, 2017, and certainly any time thereafter, just by another ordinance amending particular provisions of the code. So so before it takes effect, the council can make ordinance or amendment changes or changes to if it's approved, and then after it takes effect, it's the same process.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions from the council?
I have one other one, Mayor. About the public safety. A business that has hazardous material is required by law to put placards out to warn public safety what chemicals they're storing in there. Also, if this is to go after the sober living, so we know how many we've already have in our a ordinance for them to register, and hardly any of them have. So I don't know what this is going to do for that.
Okay, any public comment? Come on down.
Mayor, Council, John Nielsen, 130 West Gurley Street. Could we show that sheet below that one, please? Because it doesn't just show a $35 fee. There's safety inspections, there's service business fees of $75, a $450 congregate residence fee. I mean, it's just not $35. I see a service business, $35, $40, and $75. So the total fee is $75, not $35. So again, I'm kind of in agreement with Councilman Lazell that, yeah, $35 doesn't sound like a lot, but it's just not $35. It's more.
Yes, absolutely right. And this was part of the slides that we used at several of our presentations, just to make it clear. You know, the business license is the $35, but there is safety inspections. The fire department are going out and doing inspections. You know, all those costs are being eaten right now by the general fund. On the congregate living, the $450 is actually not adopted yet. It was proposed and will be discussed at the council's next excuse me, voting session. But it would be whatever council adopts at that voting session. The 40 does exist now. It is done now with transaction privilege tax licenses. That will also be, it will not be on home-based businesses where there is no customers at the locations. It will not be on out-of-city vendors or out-of-city businesses that are just doing business within the city, those type of things, only when there's a physical area that is in need of inspection.
Okay.
Mark, can you clarify, because I think there's been some misunderstanding on this, and that some people have felt that this was possibly because of the level of service that people might be receiving from fire or emergency, but this is about inspection. This is about public safety.
Absolutely. It is just about inspections. You know, the congregate living residents, and we'll discuss this
Making
in
sure
2
that
weeks.
people are in code. And
Right. There's a lot of inspections that need to be done each year out there, and that's how they came up with their amount. And again, we'll be discussing that in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Hi, Kendall Jaspers, Prescott Downtown Partnership. I have a couple of questions mostly. One is is that fee schedule, is that what you're voting on now? Or is it just this, so if the council votes aye, these are the fee schedules that are going to be in place, is that correct?
Well, the business license fee, if the council adopts this, the business license fee will be part of that adoption. The $40 inspection fee, remember, the fire department does biannual inspections at a cost of about $80 per inspection. So the concept was that the business pays $40 a year, and then in 2 years it essentially collects the money it costs to do that 2 hours of inspection, if I'm right. Is the chief awake over there? Okay. All right. But I think that was my recollection of the meeting. So it's it costs about $80 to do the inspection. That cost is then split over, and it's done every other year. It's done in, so the charge is $40 a year to recover that cost for that biannual inspection. That fee is already in place. So the $35 is what gets adopted today, as well as the peddler solicitor fees. If that's approved, those will change, and then the transaction privilege license fee gets reduced from 25 to 5 across the board, and that's why there are 4 or 5 ordinances, because all those different changes.
Okay.
And as I understand this, we had a consent item that moved the other fees to our May 17th meeting, and that was passed on the consent agenda. So Kendall, I guess what I'm saying, the ones, the 450, those go to May 17 discussion.
All right, thank you. That's fine.
Any other comments? I got
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Dave Maurer, CEO of the Prescott Chamber of Commerce. No system is perfect. Certainly no new system is going to be perfect. We realize that. Our board has supported the business license for a number of weeks now, recognizing with a caveat that there are going to be instances that none of us thought of before the fee was imposed. But it's a living, breathing document if passed, and we support the need for it. We have 865 businesses that are members of our chamber. Question I get most often from my other chamber executives is 865 of what? How many others are there, other potential members of the community? We don't know. We have to say that. More importantly, economic development opportunities that we hear of, that the city hears of. It's a common question. How many businesses are in your city? What types of businesses are in your city? We don't know the answers to those questions. It's not readily available. Yes, there are groups and organizations, Councilman Lozelle rattled off a long list of many of them, that also have, many of them have their own members, but not the full number of members. So we support the need for it. $35 is minimal, and we hope you consider supporting this today. Thank you.
Councilman Blair.
I asked a question last time, and I haven't heard it asked today. Because you just brought it up, Mr. Maurer, about an economic tool. Mark, are we going to be the clearinghouse for business to have all these different businesses listed on the website by business orientation, lawyers, and a list of all the lawyers, doctors, and a list of all the doctors? How is the city going to proceed with making this an economic tool?
I think the economic tool that is referred to here, Councilman, is more the use by economic development of the data that they're going to have. It's not the city of Prescott turning into a yellow pages for the businesses within the city, although you will be able to verify the businesses are licensed and meet the requirements. That's the intent of the website. If council wants to take it further and allow you to search all attorneys or something like that, we can sure look at that over the implementation period.
Any other further public comment?
Mayor, Council, Dwayne Famis, 129 Robinson Drive. This time last week I had no problem with this. I'm a land surveyor by trade. There's land everywhere, and I generally go everywhere. I've had a business license in Chino and Prescott Valley. They started out about $15 when they first came out and have gone up and up. The problem I have with it is, and I would have rather have put this in writing than have to come up here, but I didn't have this in time to put it in writing. But I see it as nothing but punitive. As far as a registry goes, I'm registered with the State Board of Technical Registration. I do believe there's about 25 employees, and the not quite sure what the budget is anymore, but we're talking into the millions. And they do have a nice you push of a button, you can find out I'm licensed, and I not only have a license, I have a firm card that says I can use my license. That's $50 a year. The problem I have, though, with the is Section 465. The very first sentence says, "A business license issued under this chapter may be canceled or revoked at any time." Well, I do maybe 10% of. In fact, I went back into the records, started in 1990, because 1990 was the first year that the city got into my business with land splits. I've never had a problem with that, but land splits were just taken away with the last vote, and so we're down to about 5% of my business now, probably. And for the want of $45 or $35, I can't work anywhere. I can't leave and go work anywhere else because I don't have a license in the city of Prescott. And I don't know if I care for that. When Chino Valley became difficult to work with in the administration, I decided I wasn't going to go to Chino, and so I don't have a license. I can't do that here. And if an employee or me, if I do something with, if I'm a violation of the Land Development Code or Prescott City Code or the Arizona Revised Statutes, or my employee is, I can lose a license and I lose my livelihood. I'm really not comfortable with that. And like I say, I've never had a problem at all with a business license for a municipality, but this one's a little different for me. And perhaps that is an unforeseen consequence. That's about all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor, council members, my name's Roxanne Nielsen, and my business is Prescott Brewing Company, 130 West Gurley Street. I just want to take an opportunity. This might be a little bit off the subject, but there are liquor licensees in this community that for several years have talked to city council and committees regarding the fact that we are the only industry in this city that pays an annual an annual fee in order to do business. We pay $662 a year in order to be able to run our liquor licensed establishment. It was set up in 1931. We've argued with city council. We've done committee work. We already pay a license fee to do business in this city. We don't need to pay $35 on top of $662 to have our licenses. I have a number 6 license and a number 3 license at Prescott Brewing Company downtown. I have a number 3 license at Prescott Brewing Company out by the airport. Every year I pay liquor license fees in order to do business in this town, along with the state liquor license fees that I already pay. I get nothing for it, really. I get nothing for it. We're the only industry that does that, so I'm absolutely opposed to any other kind of business license. I'd rather pay $35 than $662 for a license. But that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to bring this up because it was an appropriate time to bring it up.
Thank you.
Thank you. You want to comment to that? Or?
She is accurate. If you sell alcohol, there are additional licenses that are required. I mean...
Yes. Okay, is that a city requirement?
The local the local alcohol license is required, are done by the city. The state one, of course, the city has no control over what the State Board of Alcohol charges.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. I brought this up once before, and I'll bring it up again. I agree with the lady. I mean, alcohol, to my knowledge, is still a legal product in the United States. They not only get charged to sell it by the state, they get charged by us to sell it in our town, along with collecting sales tax. We don't have to charge them to sell alcohol here. We do it because, I think it was the attorney that told me this, we can't.
No, well, no, hold on. It's in the city code, Councilman. I mean, the council has the ability to amend the city code. The liquor license fee that we charge, the local liquor license fee, is in the city code adopted by the city council.
And I find half our codes obnoxious, and they just keep getting worse. So I'm just sharing it with you. It's been on my mind for a long time. So now what we want to do is come up with a business license that's not enforceable, that, you know what, you can attack a storefront. You got, how many did you say, Greg, last week? 10,000 people?
Oh, there's 10,000 listening on the internet.
Oh, yeah. And how many we got in the chamber? 800? Guys, this is ridiculous.
I think we could probably, in the time that we're working to develop this procedure, we can also take a look at how we can handle some kind of fairness for those folks. Correct?
Agreed.
Sure, council can always consider changes to the city code, either this one or the alcohol liquor licensing requirements.
All right. Good. Any other comments from the public? Councilman Shiska?
Thank you. Do the liquor licensees get anything other than anybody else gets for their $600 and some odd dollars?
By state law, fees charged to hospitality type industries like that need to be used to promote those industries. This liquor license fee that that has been referred to brings in about $70,000 a year in revenue, which is part of the tourism promotion, the bed tax fund. So those monies aren't put into the general fund to cover general fund costs. They are put in the bed tax fund.
So the $600 and some odd dollars are put into the bed tax.
Right, to increase tourism and the activities there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, that doesn't have to be revenue neutral.
Any other comments from the public?
Tony Meredith, Jersey Lily Saloon, 116 Montezuma. I was listening to Roxanne a couple of mayors ago, a couple of city managers ago. She's right. We're in the same room, and we were promised if we get a business license, $35 ones, we would not charge you $642 for a liquor license. And it was told to us 2 or 3 times in public. There's been letters written to the council over the years to try to reinstate that thinking. And the fact is, correct me if I'm wrong, but the city doesn't have a friggin' desk or a person or a telephone in this city representing the liquor department. The Arizona Liquor Department does everything. They overrode you guys on the liquor application over on Goodwin Street years ago, and I've never seen an application for liquor that the city didn't like. I've never seen you turn down a liquor license request ever, and I've been here in that business 15 years. And I can tell you that what goes on in here, every time you're going to have 3 applications today, maybe they'll show up, maybe they won't. and you're going to say it meets the 300-foot distance and it meets the church distance. Is there anybody else against it? Any talk? The sponsor come up? Well, he's not here today. All right, well, then let's have a vote. And it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 approved. Next, and there's going to be like 3 of them today, and that's exactly the way it's going to work. The state doesn't even charge us $642. We get the sin tax, and I'm going to bring in very soon the amount of money that the liquor people pay in this town for elevated insurance, and goes on, and I go for a list that long about what we get charged for being in business. And Greg's going like this because he knows, I know he's close to a situation. It's ridiculous what we're having to pay. We even pay, well, I won't even get into that, sales tax we don't even collect. But it's just a fact that how much can we take? You got more businesses going out of business in the liquor business. There's 3 of them gone out on Whiskey Row in the last 6 months. They can't survive. Whiskey Row used to have 16 bars. It's got 4 now. And 3 of them, I think, will have second jobs. It's not there. You guys just keep throwing this money at us all the time. Tax, 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 tax. You know, I don't care what it is. But I'm going to pursue it, and I'm going to be before this board, and I'm going to bring in you a list of what we have to pay to stay in this business. Most people have an insurance policy for furniture and liability. We got liquor liability for an average business is $10,000, just liquor liability. It goes on and on. I just want to make that clear, and I think that there ought to be some consideration about us getting this license thing fixed up. On the $600, we get nothing. You get nothing. You don't call the liquor department at the city that I am aware of. There's nobody in charge. It's the state does it all. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Well, Tommy, are you for the business license?
I don't know.
Okay. You want to see what happens.
Catch me over at the bar. I'll talk to you.
Tommy, before you go back there, please. You were here. I'm almost positive you were when we did turn one down. We turned one down over in that place that was a flower pot shop there for a while. And all they did was move a wall. And the state liquor board came up here, 2 of them. Big guys, too, huge guys.
They usually are.
And they came in this room and told us it doesn't mean squat what you as a city council does. We're going to approve a license or we're not going to approve a license. All you do is make a recommendation, and we from the state will tell you what you're going to do. All you're here to do is recommend.
Well,
we don't have to accept your recommendation. You were here.
Well, I don't remember that, but I'm not going to say you're not right. You throw in all the fundraisers, all the activities, every dress shop, every pie shop, everybody wants a license. Everybody's getting a license. You don't turn them down. If they can't make it selling pies, then they want a license for the back room to have wine tasting. Every time you have an event on the square, there is a temporary license, $25 a day. You know, my license was valued at $80,000 when I bought the Jersey Lily, okay? And it went down to maybe $40, $50 during the downturn, maybe worth $50 now. $25 a day, you can go down and get a temporary license and sell beer and wine. And the other thing that blows me away is you can't serve beer within 300 feet of the school over here, but you can serve beer on the school grounds. And does that make sense at all? I don't understand that.
And most of it's in the name of nonprofit.
Well, there's a lot of nonprofits in this town, and it takes away from our industry because there's one every weekend. I'll guarantee you got 3 today, and one okay for a fundraiser. And then there's becomes other problems as far as who's the promoter and how the money's spent. It's supposed to be 25% of the liquor sales goes to the nonprofit. I don't know if they do. I don't know of any auditing system. I don't know. Joe Baines told me there was, but I haven't figured it out yet. But anyway, there's a lot of problems with this charging thing, and somebody needs to settle down and get real. I'm telling you on that.
Okay, we'll be looking into that. Any other comments? Do you have a motion?
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 4973-1513, business license.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Passes 4-3. Councilman Blair, Mayor Pro Tem Lamerson, and Councilman Lozelle dissenting.
Okay, next item, please.
Oh, there were 5 separate motions.
Okay.
Should we go on with the next motion?
Oh, I'm sorry. We've got to go down each motion, don't we?
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 4977-1515, changes to peddler solicitor code.
Second.
Do you have a second? Motion second. Vote, please.
Passes 4-3. Councilman Blair, Councilman Lozelle, and Mayor Pro Tem Lamerson dissenting.
Next motion, please.
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance 4978-1516, change to fire safety inspection code.
Second.
Okay, a motion second. Vote, please.
Passes 4-3. Councilman Blair, Councilman Lozelle, and Mayor Pro Tem Lamerson dissenting.
Next motion.
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 4979-1517, change to transaction privilege license fee.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Passes 4-3. Councilman Blair, Councilman Lozelle, and Mayor Pro Tem Lamerson dissenting.
Final motion.
Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 4330-1539, declaring certain documents as public records.
Do you have a second? Got a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Passes 4-3. Councilman Blair, Councilman Lozelle, and Mayor Pro Tem Lamerson dissenting.
Okay, next item, please.
Item 3E, award of city contract number 2016-274 to CLM Earth Movers LLC for construction of the Smoke Tree Lane Water and Pavement Improvements Project in the amount of $2,585,154.17, streets, water, and sewer funds.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Steve Oros, Public Works. The item before you today is for the construction of the Smoke Tree water line and roadway reconstruction project between Willow Creek Road and right at Birchwood Cove. This project includes is for our water circulation improvements and for the roadway surface that is in need of reconstruction. Plans were prepared and invitations for bids were sent out March 6th and March 13th of this year. On April 7, 9 bids from contractors were received. CLM Earth Movers had the lowest apparent bid. They did have a minor math error, but it was a few dollars, not hundreds of thousands. That would have changed anything. The engineer's estimate was just over $4 million. We've received all the confirmation of the bid from the contractor and reviewed their licenses, and everything is satisfactory. Our standard construction contract to be used for this project. Pending approval tonight, we'll have a pre-construction meeting with the contractor next week, with construction following in about 2 weeks. October 24th would be the projected completion date, and the project is budgeted and funded through the streets, water, and sewer funds. I'm available to answer any questions, and thank you for your consideration.
Councilwoman Wilcox.
I'm not against the project, but I am getting increasingly confused by the terminology when your report says the source of this money is the streets fund. Over the course of the past year, sometimes we've seen reports refer to it as the streets fund, sometimes it's the streets and open space fund, and I think in our current year's budget, it is called the Streets and Open Space Fund. Could you clarify that, please?
Yes, I'd like to have Mark defer to that because it's a fun name.
It is the Streets and Open Space Fund in the current budget. Obviously, the tax changed January 1. That's why they refer to it as the Streets Fund. But as of right now, it is the Streets and Open Space Fund.
So the money is actually coming from mostly the streets and open space, 1% that expired December 31st, 2015.
That is where the fund the fund balance in that fund came from. Again, we're not splitting the funds because of, the complexity of doing that. There are other options available that we'll be discussing during the budget cycle.
Okay, so I hope we can clarify that in the budget cycle.
That's the plan.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the council? Any public comment? Do you have a motion?
Mayor, I recommend to move to award city contract number 2016-274.
Second.
Yeah, a motion, a second vote, please.
Passes unanimously.
Next item, please.
Item 3F, award of city contract number 2016-267 to CLM Earth Movers LLC for the construction of the Darby Creek Way reconstruction project in the amount of $169,142.90. Streets Fund.
Thank you. Again, this project is on Darby Creek Way, which is just west of Golden Bear and north of Smoke Tree. This was a kind of a companion project that we processed and bid at the same time as the Smoke Tree. This project is primarily a roadway reconstruction project with some minor drainage improvements similar to the Black Hawk project that was completed last year. Plans were prepared, invitation for bids were noticed on the same weekends, March 6 and March 13. Again, on this project, 7 bids were submitted. CLM Earth Movers bid was the low apparent bid. We reviewed it, checked licenses and everything checked out. Again, the standard construction contract is being used. This project is very short in duration. It's only 25 days. With everything moving forward, and then tonight, the construction should be completed this fiscal year. This is the funds are from the Streets Fund, or the Streets and Open Space Fund.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments from the council? Any from the public? Do I have a motion?
I move to award city contract number 2016-267.
Second.
Have a motion, a second vote, please.
Passes unanimously.
Next item.
Item 3G, award of city contract number 2016-275 to Asphalt Paving and Supply Incorporated for construction of the spring 2016 sidewalks repair project in the amount of $119,911. Streets Fund.
Okay. Thank you. Steve Oro still. This is for a continuation of our sidewalk repair program. Earlier this year, we had a project that was our main sidewalk repair project. The bids came in very favorably, and we did have some excess funds, so we decided to look at what else we could do this year for the sidewalk repairs. Came up with some additional projects. Our streets department identified a segment of the courthouse square on the east side on Cortez that needed to be addressed. So we're incorporated that into the project and put this together. Again, the bids were solicited March 27 and April 3rd. We did receive 2 bids on the project on April 7. Asphalt Paving and Supply Incorporated was the low bid. The bid did come in above our engineer's estimate, and from what we could determine, it was because we had a very short time frame and limited hours because they're working near the square, and we wanted to make sure by Friday at noon they were out of there and there was no open curbs or sidewalks or anything. So that's what we surmised. We did review Asphalt Paving Supply's bid, licensing and all their documentation, and found it was in order. The standard construction contract will be used. 25 calendar days for completion, which puts it right at the end of June. And funding for this project is from the Streets Open Space Fund. And I'm available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Questions, comments from the council? Any from the public? Do I have a motion?
Mayor, I move to award city contract numbers 2016-275.
Second.
Got a motion and a second vote, please.
Passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Next item.
Item 3H, adoption of ordinance number 4969-1507 regarding feeding of wildlife. Ordinance number 4969-1507, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Prescott, Yavapai County, Arizona, amending Title V, Police Regulations, Chapter 5-3, Animals and Fowl of the Prescott City Code by adding Section 5-3-16, outdoor feeding and protection of wildlife.
Mayor, Council, this is your opportunity to further discuss the feeding of wildlife. In your council memo, I summarized some of after the last discussion, summarized some of the changes made to address some of the concerns at the last discussion. We looked at, as you heard from the game and fish officers, we looked at not only Flagstaff, but Graham County and Gila County, and so sort of tightened up the language to make it more specific to the particular types of wildlife that would be prohibited feed, and sort of tried to address more specific issues, and also to address, concern. There was questions last time about the state law, and why couldn't we just adopt the state law? The difference is that when the legislature adopts legislation, then the agency charged with enforcing it gets to adopt regulations, agency-type regulations. So Game and Fish would then adopt regulations as part of its charge, sort of interpreting the state legislation. We don't have that. We don't do that here. So all of our definitions, things, and exceptions have to go into the ordinance itself. And the ordinance is really very, very simple. If adopted, what it would do, it would make unlawful for any person to intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly feed wildlife or to attract wildlife. That's the gist of the ordinance. So I'll let you all discuss it and open it to the public, and happy to answer any questions.
Councilman Lozelle.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. John, I guess what I'm like to know is, why can't we have an ordinance that just says, we as a city council allow Game and Fish to enforce Game and Fish laws in the city of Prescott? I mean, are we able legally to just make it that simple?
No. Because there's no such thing as game and fish law. In other words, state statute provides in Title 13, as we talked about last time, it makes it illegal for feeding of wildlife, and Game and Fish would enforce that, but only in counties with a population of over 280,000, and we just aren't there yet. So, as we heard from the Game and Fish officers last time, they need this type of ordinance in order to enforce this type of law. They can't simply enforce an ordinance that by law isn't enforceable in Yavapai County.
Councilwoman Wilcox.
Well, I think the changes that have been made in the draft presented tonight are a big improvement. It focuses specifically on the wildlife that can be dangerous and can be a nuisance: bear, coyote, mountain lion, and javelina. So we've eliminated the prohibition against putting up bird feeders, feeding wild birds, and that was a big concern expressed by the public.
And also, if I could add, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if I was next.
Go ahead.
Apologize.
You already started.
The water features that's also been changed, so
Okay.
it's good.
Councilman Shiska.
Thank you. John, does this have the Eric Moore from Jay's Bird Barn seal of approval?
He's not here. So that tells you something. Yeah, I think Eric, as we heard from the last meeting, Eric's concern was primarily dealing with the bird feeding language. We changed that, from the last meeting and incorporated that in. He had some vague comment about the water feature, and so we struck out. We just made it very straightforward, so that if it's a bird bath, an ornamental water feature, that's fine. What we're trying to do is avoid water troughs or those kinds of things. And there is a if somebody has horses or something like that, there is an ability to put a water trough out for your horses. We're talking about people who intentionally put a water trough with the intent to attract javelina or bear or something. That's where the violation comes in. And I also remind the council that this is not a one and done kind of thing. In other words, if somebody complains and Fish and Game go out they're not even allowed to cite on the first visit or on the first complaint. They provide, and as we heard, they provide information and try and sort of convince people that this is not really a good idea, not only for people and animals and property, but for the wildlife itself, to sort of try and domesticate the animals by feeding them, dog food or salt licks or whatever.
One of the things that I noticed was that in the Flagstaff ordinance, it was basically brought about because of rabid skunks that were being fed. And so is that an omission, or can we, do we really have to name skunks in this ordinance?
Well, I think the challenge, and Flagstaff had, I guess, a broader problem perhaps than what Prescott has. And that's why Flagstaff was much sort of broader and more general. I think the concerns that have been raised are javelina or deer or, attracting then other predator type animals, because the problem, I think, if you try and regulate the feeding of skunks, well, that's pretty much everything, because I guess I'm no biologist, but feeding squirrels and chipmunks and raccoons are probably the same as feeding skunks. So we've really narrowed it down to those animals that really sort of pose a public safety threat, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe it.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Orr.
Yes, I did have a call from the Fish and Game officers that were here last week, and they aren't able to come tonight because they are at an in-service in Tucson. But they are certainly very supportive of this. And one of the things that I think that we've not really talked a lot about is how harmful, certainly there's public safety, but how harmful that the feeding is also for the animals, because then they become dependent, and then they aren't able to survive in the wildlife. And so this is certainly a public safety issue, but it's also, I believe, the right thing to do for the animals.
Any other questions, comments from the council? Any public comment? Okay, do I have a motion?
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 4969-1507.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Passes 5-2. Mayor Pro Tem Emerson and Councilman Lozelle dissenting.
Next item.
Item I, adoption of resolution number 4332-1541, approving city contract number 2016-272, an intergovernmental agreement with the Yavapai County Community College District for a structured sober living house manager program, general fund.
Mayor and Council, this particular item grew out of dialogue with recovery providers and Yavapai College. And as indicated in the staff report, Yavapai College does offer behavioral health instruction. And the ongoing dialogue that the city is involved with or engaged in on many fronts plays out in different venues and different groups and so forth. And in a couple of collaborative meetings, the idea of this particular course was set forth and discussed more fully, discussed with the college about how that might be realized. And so what you have before you is an intergovernmental agreement by which the college would develop and deliver a curriculum and training for certification of the managers of structured sober living homes. So this would be called the House Manager Program. Well, there's always a question in an initiative like this, why would the city be involved in a contract of this type? Again, it's really about different parties stepping up to the plate and looking at how better outcomes can be achieved. And the better outcomes here are specifically about having much more competent, trained on-site house managers for these facilities who are able to respond to situations, who are able to render some level of care, whether it be CPR or recognize conditions, things like that. What has been discussed is the college will, and I believe they've already issued a request for proposals for providers to develop this curriculum. And the objective would be a multi-day certification course. It might be offered for $300 or something like this. That was a figure which was discussed.
And the Northern Arizona Recovery Association, among others, would put all of their house managers through this. And as we know, there are quite a few of them in this community, and there's turnover as well. So the city's involvement here would be to provide some seed money to be recovered on a per-student basis, and in this particular agreement, that's indicated at 25% of the tuition paid for each student. What that would really mean is it would take about 200, depending on what the course, whatever the course cost would be, that's about 250 house managers, which is something which is certainly within the realm of reason when you realize how many are out there, what the turnover is, and so forth. So that's the agreement that you have before you. A little bit unusual, but again, I think that it represents an initiative on the city's part to step up and actually take some action or contribute to community outcomes which are better than what we're seeing now.
Councilman Shiska.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, Craig, one of the big objections I've heard to this is that people are saying that Yavapai College should step up for the benefit of this community and do this without having Prescott front this money. I've heard it from the standpoint of people already pay a huge portion of their property tax to Yavapai College. Now, I'm not going to judge the funding of this situation, but I have to tell you that this really has elicited negative comments that I didn't expect.
One thing I'll say is I think this is getting us prepared for the possible passing of House Bill 2107. And one of the things that is stated in that bill, if it gets passed, is that we should do three things. Improve the house manager training so that they can provide better health, safety, and welfare for the people in the facilities. And I can tell you what, if we do start to improve the quality of care in those homes, I think you're going to see a lot of the industry step up and meet their requirement of proper care, and then you're going to see a reduced impact of negative issues in the various residential neighborhoods where they exist. So, I think this is the first step. Another part of that bill is to have adequate staffing. Right now, you got one person. Many times is the only person that's the house manager. So when people go to sleep at nighttime and that person goes to sleep, there's nobody really in charge, and things are happening. One of the things that I think we would look forward to in the future is that the ordinances that we produced would require full-time staffing. In other words, there'd be anywhere from 3 to 4 people, so that on a shift basis, there would always be somebody awake and being able to take care of medical situations and other things that come up. So I think this is important. I think the 250 is way low. I think it's going to be much more than that. I mean, if you take 170 homes that we have right now and you're looking at 4 to 5 house managers to have adequate staffing, the $20,000 will be recovered in a very short period of time. But I think the thing we have to look at is we as a community, do we believe in health, safety, and welfare of all of our residents, even those that are in these homes? Now, I've had some negative comments, you bet. Everybody wants the college to step up. I've had people say NARA needs to step up. But I can tell you what, I think we need to control this from the city level to make sure that we get exactly the training program that we want to see in those homes. And I think that's important. Any other comments? Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I think this is city leadership. I believe that we need to step up and do this, and not only will it make the homes better for the occupants that are there, but I'm concerned about our neighborhoods, and someone needs to teach these folks how they need to be good neighbors. And I hope that's a big part of relationships that will be taught in this class. The payback, if that wasn't there, I would not support this, but I do believe we'll get paid back rather quickly. And I think it's that we need to have the leadership and say, this is ours. We want to own this. And so what are these classes going to look like? And I think by taking this initiative, being leaders in this effort, people keep saying we need to get control of the situation out there. I believe this is a big part of getting control of the situation that's facing our neighbors. Yeah.
Councilwoman Wilcox.
Yeah, I have a problem with the funding, not the idea of requiring house managers to be certified. We can do that by ordinance. If we're given the authority by the state legislature, we can require them to be certified, and we can even specify what they have to learn and pass in a test. But we don't have to pay for it. I think Yavapai Community College can afford to put up the money, to put up $20,000. If they can afford to pay their president $280,000 a year in salary and benefits, they can afford $20,000 for a course that they design. We don't know if we will get 250. Maybe it's high, maybe it's low, but the college should be taking the risk on this, not the general fund. I would much rather see this general fund money be put toward funding our public safety positions, which we are deficient in right now.
Okay, any other comments from the council? Any public comment?
Oh, sorry. The last time I was here was 6 years ago discussing the liquor license. So rather ironic. My name is Barry Barb, 316 West Goodwin. I've been operating restaurants downtown for about 18 years. During that time, we've hired numerous people from the recovery program industry. We've done food service for West Yavapai Guidance Clinic. We've helped with fundraising for legitimate rehabilitative services. I do not have a problem with somebody operating a legitimate recovery program in Prescott. I do not have a problem with someone coming to Prescott for needed treatment. I do have a problem with the city taking taxpayer money and going into perceived partnership with privately owned industries to their benefit. It's a great thing. Open a business here. We'll train your staff. Why not? Why wouldn't you open a recovery home here? We pay, and as you've heard, we pay $600 some a year for absolutely nothing. We get no staff training. We don't get that. We are now going to pay additional money through the licensing fee. Well, why don't you pass the licensing fee onto the recovery homes to pay for this program? I just don't think it's the right way to go about it. I'm not opposed to the idea, but the resolution that is online doesn't have an expense, how much the city's going to spend, who's going to design the program, how we're going to get the money back. It's not in the resolution, so I've not seen that. If it's there, it's not online today. I'm just concerned that I think the idea is noble, but I think the funding of it is really off track. When we're closing our library on Sundays, when we're, longtime Prescott residents are losing city services due to whatever, I just don't think it's a good way to go about the funding of it. I'm not opposed to the idea. I'm not opposed to the industry. I think additional policy and policing of it is required, but I don't know that this is going to bring that about. So that's it.
Anyone else?
Hi, Sandra Smith, Mayor, Council. I have a question. Is HUD going to allow us to insist that they be trained managers in all these homes?
Well, they do in the licensed ones.
Oh, just the
ones that are
licensed
licensed by
ones.
HHS, Health and Human Services in Phoenix. They're required to have trained operators. The big problem we have is that HHS is not willing to do that for anybody that doesn't have some kind of medical capacity, like an intensive outpatient clinic. That's part of their operation, and so those are basically flying under the radar, and they don't have any training.
And they're the ones that are the problems most of the time.
I think in my discussion with the industry, that's correct. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Just wondered about that.
Good evening, Mayor Oberg and Council. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to come
before you and express our opinions. The first I heard of this was this morning on Councilman Blair's show, and he talked about it and said anybody has any questions, comments, come on down and find out what's going on with this. And my opinion is more similar with the gentleman before me. I don't see why we should just cut the city out as the middleman, why the college can't work with, this is a private enterprise program. I mean, the city can be involved to see that certain things are covered, but all these depend on the new laws, right, that are going to be passed from the state Senate. If those laws come down, is what this program is going to be to enforce the new laws if they're passed through the state Senate? Is that what this is?
Correct. We're going to have some kind of ordinances that would implement the law that gets passed, and part of that is probably going to be to have some kind of training for house managers.
Okay, so the $20,000, are you going to mandate that even the homes that have already been established, that they say are grandfathered in, are they going to be mandated to send people to this? Is it going to be mandated for every sober living facility in Prescott for them to have a trained, through this program, person in their home? Is it going to be mandated that they're going to have to do that?
I'll probably have to go to the attorney on that.
Well, if House Bill 2107 passes, it makes it through, or even if it gets a vote, and is adopted, that just empowers the city to then adopt regulations affecting the operations of community residences or group homes, sober living group homes. What happens then is that the city staff and the council would then develop a set of regulations or an ordinance to effectuate that. It would apply to the operations of the group home, not to the residents. So it doesn't trigger Fair Housing Act. Fair Housing Act protects the resident. It doesn't protect an operator necessarily. I mean, and operational regulations generally don't trigger Fair Housing Act type issues. And we've looked at other communities that have authority to do this in other states. I mean, they're pretty broad. I mean, so one of the things we could require is that there is a certification or certified house manager on staff at all times. What that certification is sort of the question here. I mean, because there are, if there's a licensed facility, a facility licensed by Department of Health Services, that's a different type of certification that a house manager, some sort of behavioral health type certification that person has to have. So the question that, there's a lot of steps to go in before we can actually regulate, group home operations, even if 2107 passes. But that's the process we're starting actually next week at the ad hoc committee, going to talk about, the kind of ideas behind, a type of regulation.
Did that answer your question?
So they won't be required formally. There won't be any law that says you have to have a.
Not right now.
There won't be.
Yeah.
Well, if the statute passes, if the bill passes and it goes into effect, then the city could adopt an ordinance which would execute on that statute regulating the operation of group homes. Unlike zoning law or land use law, this can be, this can be applied across the board. It can be sort of retroactive to established group homes as well as new group homes, because you don't trigger that land use type of prohibition about retroactive application of zoning law. So it would apply across the board to all, whatever falls in the definition of I forget what the bill says. Structured sober living facility.
Okay.
So as a council, will you come together and then vote on that to make that an ordinance that that there be at least one person in each facility to be required to go through this program and be trained?
Yeah, that would have to come before the council, and I'm not sure whether, what the ordinance would say right now, but the intent is to make sure that we have adequate care and somebody that's full-time managing the facility.
Okay, so, and I'm like with the people that have talked to Councilman Shiska, my property taxes just keep going up. And I think Yavapai College should step up, and because we are a community here, it affects all of us here in this community. And, we just see more. And are they going to be charged a business license now because the $35 fee or whatever, because they're going to be considered a business? Are they going to be under that rule too now?
As I
is that going to be
understand it,
retroactive to
they would
the
have
other
to
ones?
register because they are a business. That's correct.
Well, and you want to put $20,000 towards this program, is that correct?
That was the intent, that we would go ahead and see the development of the course so that it would align with our eventual intentions on the ordinance.
Well, I would rather see Yavapai College, you guys work with them to make them step up, and then take that $20,000 and either put it towards the inspectors. I understand we only have one, and maybe hire another part-time one to inspect these homes to make sure they're following the regulations, that they're all licensed, that they do have somebody in their home that's gone through this program, that they're certified, and that protects, that protects all of us. It protects the people that live around them, and it protects the people that are in these programs, that they're getting the proper certified care that they're paying for, or who, their insurance is paying for, or whoever. And then I just think that would go to be better to put the $20,000 towards that, because, or even to put it towards our policemen, because, they've cut back so much, and for them they don't even, for overtime, they're the ones that are getting these calls. So they don't have the money in the fund right now because, the cutbacks and everything. So when the police get these calls, they don't have the manpower, so maybe that could bring another policeman, take the $20,000 to have it on there for them to help with the calls on these homes. When they get the calls, then they need to go out and investigate what's going on. I just wish you would really consider working with Yavapai College and asking them to step up, like Councilman Wilcox said. I think it would just be better for the taxpayers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, Sherry, I want to thank you for coming forward and bringing forth those ideas and coming down today and taking your time. The intent here is for us to get in front of this issue and to get this ball rolling quickly. And once this bill passes, then we're going to be able to come forth with what we want in our city to have ordinances for these sober living homes, so we can get a handle on this, because everybody has asked us to do that for the last year. I've heard so many people say the city needs to get a handle on the behavior, things that are going on in our neighborhood. So I believe this is just an effort of the city. And I understand what you're saying with regard to Yavapai College. I certainly do.
And I also think, too, if the council does this, and I know we all want to help, but you kind of set a precedence for other private organizations, that might come forward and say, well, you helped out the sober living, even though it is a private group, so why can't you help us? Why can't you come and help? It does set a precedence now that you kind of shows that you're willing to, help other groups, which may not be what the city council is here to do.
Well, the city does a lot of partnerships, as you saw what we've done today, even with Kiwanis and.
Oh, yeah. I realize that, but I'm just saying other groups.
Sure.
So it just opens the door. I think the other groups might feel like they're entitled to have help to do things too. Sure. And I'm all for these, the park and everything like that. But I just think it just opens the door a little wider.
And I want to remind you that we do expect to get reimbursed.
Yeah.
But if you don't mandate that everybody take the program and pay for it, then how are you, that's why it's important. You have to get your money back. You have to mandate. And like you say, you might pass an ordinance, but if HUD comes in or somebody else comes in and says you can't do that, you can't mandate that on somebody. I mean, we've just seen over the years these things we try to pass and things we try to do, and we find that we're headed off at the pass by the Department of Justice or whatever, because they say, well, you can't do that. You can't do that. So.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bill Good. I hope it's appropriate that I make some comments here, even though I'm a member of the Sober Living Structured Sober Living Home Committee. I do want to emphasize that the purpose of the committee is to try to create as safe as possible an environment for these residents. And clearly, without regulation, some of these sober living homes are not safe. We have people that are designated as group home managers that have absolutely no training. They may have been qualified because they've been sober for weeks, maybe months at most. No first aid training, no safety training, no ability to monitor potential relapse and overdoses and things like that. So having a requirement for these home managers to have some appropriate certification and training, I think, is very much needed so that these residents will have a safe environment. Whether the city can designate that this particular program is required, I'm not sure if that can be done, but certification of some reliable sort be required, I think could be included in those ordinances. So I would certainly support this. I think most of the comments I've heard that are objectionable about taxpayers subsidizing Yavapai College in this program. Now, according to at least the draft ordinance here, the city gets paid back by a 25% commission, I suppose you could call it that, on these on the tuition being paid. But if it's expected that the city is going to recover its costs, why wouldn't Yavapai College keep that commission and pay for the development of the program on its own? That way there's no taxpayer money going to this college, and they can develop the curriculum, they can keep the full amount of tuition, and we don't have to worry about setting precedents or spending taxpayer monies inappropriately. That's my comment.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So, Mr. Mayor, can I ask? Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just ask a quick question here?
Yeah.
Would it be possible to defer this until we're able to get some comments or have some conversation with Yavapai College?
I think that's...
Sure.
Yeah, we could do that.
I mean, we could be voting on something that we maybe don't even need to vote on because maybe we can get concession or work with them. I know we want to have a handle on a lot of what's in that program.
Okay.
But just
let's see what...
That's okay.
I think procedurally you can just make a motion to continue this to, a future meeting, and then direct staff to go and do whatever you want it to do.
I'd like to make a motion that we continue this at a further meeting.
Second.
Yeah, motion and second vote, please.
Okay.
Greg.
Well, we can still have
Greg.
no?
Hey, Greg, are you going both ways there?
Passes 6-1, Councilman Lozelle dissenting.
I just have one comment before everybody runs off on this thing.
Okay.
My issue is I had an opportunity to talk to 2 house managers today. And there's no guarantee if the money is spent or the city is reimbursed that those house managers even stay there more than a week. With what they're paid, they move from house to house, and most of them don't even stay around, or most of them fall off the wagon, and then all of a sudden they're back in the program. When I asked the 2 gentlemen that I talked to, and I know them specifically, they said that they would be more than happy to do that, which would give them a further foothold on getting involved in the medical world of becoming a CNA and moving on to make more money than a house manager. So the question becomes, how valuable and how much money are we going to put into this when people have the ability to be transient and to move?
Right. Okay. Thank you. Like I always do in the past, I like to just have a quick comment from our founding fathers. The highest level of prosperity occurs when there is a free market economy and a minimum of government regulations. Prosperity depends upon a climate of wholesome stimulation of 4 basic freedoms in operation: the freedom to try, the freedom to buy, the freedom to sell, and the freedom to fail. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.